I don't remember any of it.
You don't remember?
For you, the day bison graced your village was the most important day of your life. But for me, it was Tuesday.
Welcome to the Rated G for Gamers podcast, episode 179. Just a reminder before we start that you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at Rated G for Gamers. Please rate and review us on iTunes and Spotify. We appreciate all the love. Also, we are part of the Gaming Podcast Alliance. Check out all the fine podcasts featured on there if you're looking for more gaming goodness, like Grief Burrito. They are a new member of the GPA podcast, so head over to gamingpodcastalliance.com and check them out. I'm your host, Dave Bertino. This is my co-host, Dan, the podcaster formerly known as Classic Robinson.
What's going on, man?
Dan, before we start, we have a winner of the July contest.
Nice.
Congrats.
You won.
Congrats to my, I won, hey. Congrats to...
You won. You get Super Mario Maker 2. You get Super Mario Maker 2.
All right, Oprah. We're not made of cash. If you guys remember, the prize was Super Mario Maker 2, and at Monkey Dirkpo 1 is the winner.
Say that 10 times fast.
I'm impressed that I got through it the first time. So look for a message from us. We will ask for details, and we will get that game right out to you. Congratulations to Monkey Dirkpo 1, and thanks to all who entered.
That's a good game. He's getting a good game now. He's getting
a fantastic game, Dan. Super Mario Maker 2 it's fantastic on the Dave scale.
I mean, we'll talk about later games that we're playing. Surprise. Super Mario Maker 2, still going through different levels.
Spoilers,
fantastic game.
Nice. So, it is August now. You know what that means, Dan?
Wait, and Shark Week.
Maybe? It may be Shark Week. It is also
they keep
on
moving
top
it back.
of it.
They keep moving Shark Week back. As a side note, it was in July last year. I think.
Was it?
I think it's August. Yeah, it was the end of July last year. I think it's. August.
They're trying to sync it up with the start of the football season. I don't know what's going on.
Well, when we were kids, when I was a kid, not when you were kids, because
they didn't have Shark Week when you were a kid, did they?
They had Scooby-Doo when you were a kid, right? The Scooby-Doo was just airing. When I was a kid, Shark Week. You know what Shark Week meant to me?
Shark Week wasn't around, was it?
It was. No, Shark Week was around.
I don't remember. I don't remember Shark Week.
It just started, maybe. I mean, look, not when I was like 4, but I mean, like when I was like 12, 13.
I don't remember Shark Week.
Shark Week meant that summer was over because it was at the end of August. It was like Labor Day is coming. So, side note.
Nice.
What else are we going to talk about Shark Week? We don't have a shark podcast. We should though.
We for all your hot shark fin news, Dan's got you covered. On our sister podcast, Dan talks about sharks. You know what? I would listen. But what I was going to say, Dan, is that it is August, and it is possibly Shark Week, but it is also a brand new contest giveaway. We are giving away one copy of Control for the console of your choice, either PlayStation or Xbox. So head on over to Twitter at RatedG4Gamers for contest rules and entry details.
Control. You should just play the Janet Jackson song.
Janet Jackson song. We may get a copyright block on that for posting music up. You got to be very careful, Dan, because we're on YouTube now. So if you end up playing snippets of songs for even more than a couple seconds, you will get banned. It's crazy. They will demonetize your videos. It's crazy.
All right, so Dave. I know we missed a week. I think we've been doing really good this year. Like I don't think we missed a week, or maybe we missed 1 week, but we've been really good this year.
At best, we missed 1 week. You know, we've been definitely committed to coming on this podcast and talking about games with me and you,
sharks,
to our fans, and sometimes sharks. We've been good, but there was a lot of stuff that went down these past couple of weeks.
Well, life got in the way. Life got in the way. Sure. Life definitely got in the way. We're big GMG guys.
We are big GMG guys. Yeah. I had a wonderful birthday. You and your lady came through. It was a grand old time, and that went real late. Also, we had some fun stuff this weekend. I know you went to the Long Island Retro Gaming Expo.
And it was awesome.
Yeah. So tell me about that, man.
It was awesome. No, listen, I know I went. We missed it last year. Mm-hmm. And I know I went the year before, but I went briefly. I couldn't really stay, and I bought a few games. But I went with our friend Anthony this past weekend to the Retro Gaming Expo, Long Island Retro Gaming Expo, and I got to say it's really good. I mean, it's a place where you're really gonna buy games and play old school games. I didn't get a chance to catch any panels or anything.
Oh, they had panels too. Oh, nice.
Yeah, they had panels. And a friend of the show, Jay Bam from Team One Up 'Em. He had a panel. Unfortunately, I couldn't catch it because it was on Sunday, and I was there. I was only able to go on a Saturday. But I did see Jay Bam, and he bought a copy of Little Samson right in front of me.
Ooh, you got to witness a Little Samson buying transaction. I'm a little envious, Dan.
And the Flintstones. In the second Flintstones, he bought
Dinosaur
two rare NES games.
Dinosaur Peak? Wow.
He bought two rare NES games right in front of me.
That is a major flex right there. You're like, you know what? I'm just going to get some of the most expensive video games ever. Just like right now, I'm just going to go ahead and drop and buy them.
And I'm not going to say how much it costs.
I mean, that's it's fine.
But
got to keep that transaction price discreet.
But me and Anthony did see it. It wasn't in box. It was just by itself.
Oh yeah, of course.
And me and Anthony did see it, and I was like, "Hey, you want to go half?" I mean, it's doable. It's doable.
Oh, who would own it though? Who would own it? You have to split custody half the year. You know.
Well, we
get it during the week. You get it on weekends. Is that how that works?
I was gonna, and then in summer times he can have it. I was gonna say we can share it, and I can buy him out at some point later on.
You can buy him out for the game. I see. That's like the grand scheme, you know.
When I get my Christmas bonus, I can buy him out. So no. Listen, I really enjoyed it. It's a lot of great vendors. People were really personable, good to talk to. It was more packed than it was 2 years ago. I didn't go last year, so I don't know if the attendance increased, but definitely it was pretty packed last year. If you go to one of these conventions, I would heavily suggest you invest in buying that tin cup and getting the free refill sodas.
The tin cup. Oh, they just have like $10 will cover you for the whole day.
Go up a little. Go
15 maybe. $15 cover.
Well, the lowest, the cheapest cup was 15.
15. Oh, but you have to take the cup with you, though, 35. Right?
You have to keep the cup with you, and they put a sticker on the cup so you can keep getting free refills the whole time.
Nice.
So
I'll tell you a little bit. I
definitely had like 6 or 7. I had like 6 or 7 refills. I'm not gonna lie.
I'll tell you a little bit of.
I got my money's worth.
Tell you a little bit of random side trivia. The place that you were at, the Cradle of Aviation Museum over in Nassau County, right?
Which I gotta say, this is probably the most action they get all year.
The most action they get all year. Well, way back in the day, I was building their website.
Wow, really? That I did not know.
Yep. So a company that I worked for many years ago now, apparently we had a bit of a contract, had some designs, and my boss was like, well, I need you to start working on this after you finish this thing. And I'm like, oh, cool, Cradle of Aviation. Like, that's awesome. We had some really cool designs, and I was building all this stuff out. And then all of a sudden, the project just kind of crumbled. And, I think it was kind of like, somebody knew somebody and they had some funds, but not a lot of funds. And I think like their funding kind of dried up. So it was like, well, we can't really continue this. And it just kind of fell by the wayside. And I was like, oh, well, that's a shame. But, yeah.
No, it was, again, the thing that I really love about this expo is all the little corners they have. Like, because it's a really small building. It's not large by any means.
It's tiny. Yeah.
It's tiny. They find a way to fill it with something. So it's a small space. It's just like me. I have a small space for my games, but I always find a place for everything and fit it in nice and neat.
You're like a Tetris master, Dan.
I am. They fit, a game in a corner here, arcade cabinet in a corner here. All the board game and card play were all the way in the back, and they went all out. So you're like, playing a board game or a card game next to a giant globe or a giant
it's like here. It's like the lunar lander. It's like, all right.
Yeah.
I tap 2 lands and play my counter spell.
The only thing I didn't like, when I went 2 years ago, they had a bigger variety of retro games to play, right?
Right.
And now, I mean, this year they had a variety of consoles. I mean, you went from Atari Jaguar to all the computers, Commodore 64, computers I never even heard of. But the game selection was kind of poor this year.
A little bit,
right?
yeah.
A little bit. It was a little poor.
Yeah.
A little poor this year.
Well, I have to say, somebody ended up like someone has to bring all those games there, right? It's not just like, you can just call up a company and that company will drop everything off, right? Like they're coming from someone's collection, right? So
a lot of different collections.
Well, there you go. So you got to kind of coordinate all that, and some people drop out or move or this and that. So it's it's interesting. It's interesting.
Well, I got to see the guys from Wolf Den, that YouTube channel. Definitely check them out. Those guys are awesome.
Yeah.
My Life in Gaming, they were there. They were awesome.
Oh, yeah.
And I got to shake hands with Pat and Ian.
Oh, good deal. Yeah, we if you remember, I bought his NES guidebook at Portland Retro Gaming Expo, and that was kind of awesome to meet him and talk to him for a minute. But I mean, that book is great. He's got the Super Nintendo guidebook coming out real soon.
Anthony asked him about it. He's just like, "Hey,
what did he
what's
say?
up with the Super Nintendo guidebook?" He's just like, "It's being delayed right now, but it's done.
Right,
it's done, and it should be shipping around November."
Yeah.
So it's only delayed 2 months.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So,
good stuff.
But,
very high quality hardcover book. Well worth the price.
So I'll get into what I picked up a little later when we talk about pickups. But how was your weekend?
It was good, man. It's good. I had a little staycation. I went out to the island, the Long Island, and there's this thing.
What island did you go to?
The Long Island, yeah. The Long
Why didn't you go to the Short Island? I don't understand.
The Short Island. I don't think there is a Short Island out here.
Nah, why you called it the Long Island? Yeah, I went out to the Long Island.
I went out to the island that is. I'm trying to make a joke here, Dad. All right.
You went out to the island that is long.
Listen, I'm an old man. All right. Some of my jokes don't land.
I know.
So they do this thing, much like Long Island Retro Gaming Expo does a thing every year. They have this thing called the Long Island Craft Classic, which is exactly what it sounds like. It is a giant beer fest that is in Heckscher State Park. Giant, nice, big, green, open field. And you go there, you buy tickets ahead of time. They give you a nice little commemorative, like 2.5 shot glass, and you get to drink all the beer you want for like 4 to 5 hours.
Nice.
It is great. Tons of like local like beer vendors, craft breweries, and all that. They had like Blue Point there and Dogfish Head and Long Island Brewing Company and just like tons and tons of good breweries. And you just kind of go down the line, and you go all the way around and you just drink and have barbecue and hang out and all that. We threw some axes. That was kind of fun and weird. Because everyone was like slightly inebriated, and they're like, here is a sharp object for which you can wing at a piece of wood. Like,
well, thank God you had to throw that wood and not like an apple on someone's head.
Oh my god. Surprisingly, now I have done it before, right?
What, put an apple in your head?
No, axe throwing, because my girl, for our second date, set up this whole thing. We went out to a bar and had dinner, and then we did axe throwing, and I'm like, They're really cool. And I'm surprisingly good at axe throwing, Dan. I beat like everybody else out. Consistently, I was hitting like right near the bullseye or like just off the bullseye.
Listen. You're good at axe throwing because you're a gamer. Okay, just like it was a thing. I think it was on ESPN I was watching. The kid had like a really arcade racing arcade machine in his bedroom, and he actually tried out for Formula One racing.
Oh, F1? No way.
And he got picked to be a race car driver, and he learned how to drive in an arcade machine.
Yeah, see, look at that. It's all about the hand-eye coordination, Dan, right?
All about the
it translates.
Hand-eye coordination. There you go. That's how it works.
Yeah. So I think we had some pretty fun-filled pack weekends, and now we're back out on the mics, feeling good, feeling refreshed, right?
Yeah. No, I'm not. Listen, I'm good. I had a great time. I next year I hope we both get to go to Long Island Retro Gaming Expo.
It's happening, Dan.
I hope now that I know little Samson can be there, I hope to have a little bit more money on me.
You're gonna have a little more money for a little Samson.
I could have bought it, and that would have been the only thing I bought. Or or I could buy a few things.
That's a big investment. I don't know.
It is.
As much as I want little Samson too, it's like
the funny thing was, this is why I love J-Bam so much. He bought it, and he didn't say, you know what, I'm going to put this up on my in a plastic or in a safe. He said, guys, why don't we find an NES so we can play it?
Ha! There you go.
He's like, we got to find an NES. Let's play this right now.
Oh,
that was awesome.
Fantastic. Yeah. I love it.
I love that guy. He's a cool guy. What we didn't talk about because we missed the show last week was we didn't get to say happy birthday to you. So happy birthday, Dave. Not every day you turn 50.
Not every day I turn. Wow, your math is bad, man. I have to send you back to school. All right. All right. For as long as I've known you, you've been in school. How are you not good at math?
I need that Donkey Kong math.
You do need that Donkey Kong math. Donkey Kong Junior math. There you go.
I need that Donkey Kong math.
I'm gonna get that. I'm gonna get that for you for Christmas. All right. Spoilers.
But we also get to say happy birthday to the Game Boy. It's his 30th anniversary. It's only 30.
30 years.
It's only 30. So that means you were like 20.
1989.
That means no,
man, I was 9 years old when that game came out. All right, I was 9 years old when that system came out. I got it that Christmas. I don't know about you. I got it 89 Christmas. 89.
I got it later on because I was 7. So I got it a little later on, and again, I never got Mario. Like I never got the Mario Land game, so I'm not really. Mario
was really cool. Yeah.
So I'm not really nostalgic for it. I mean, of course, I got Tetris. I had Tetris and like Dr. Mario. And that was pretty it. And Yoshi, I think I got. I had a Yoshi.
Good. Yeah.
I got all like the puzzle games. I never got like an actual like real like adventure game. So I had the Tiger Electronic. I had the Tiger Electronic games too.
Oh, it's just as good. It's just as good. So here's a little bit of trivia. Do you know the initial 5 launch games that came out for the Game Boy that holiday season?
No. Tetris.
Tetris is one.
I don't know.
Tetris is one. Come on. You got to dig deep.
I don't know the other 4.
I mean, you said another one. You said one of them already.
Dr. Mario was a launch game?
Not Dr. Mario.
What was the other game? Yoshi? Yoshi was a...
No.
Well, it had to be Mario Land.
Super Mario Land was in there. Okay. It was also tennis. It was also a baseball. And it was also Alleyway.
Oh, really? Wait, Alleyway? Oh, Alleyway was on the game.
Alleyway was like a breakout clone. Baseball was obviously like baseball. Tennis was tennis. Tetris is best game of all time. And Super Mario Land was the Game Boy version of, Mario. And those were the those are the 5 launch games. In America, at least. Yeah.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
So congrats, happy birthday to Game Boy. You can now drink and smoke and rent a car and get a mortgage and get a house and go into debt. Congrats.
That's a morbid life.
I don't know.
It's a morbid.
It's not really a big thing at 30. I mean, yeah, you get to have a big birthday party, but nothing really opens up for you. Maybe like responsibility opens up for you when you're 30.
I could just imagine a Game Boy with gray hair. Or acid dripping out of its back because the batteries are too old.
Hey, it's already gray. The case is already gray, Dad.
It's smoking a cigar.
It's already there. Yeah.
What did I do with my life? Looking at my young kids, the 3DS.
Yeah,
2DS.
That's funny.
Well, so Analog, who puts out all those clone systems, the quality clone systems, actually. There was a leak for a new patent for the analog system called the Analog Pocket, and everyone is speculating, will this be sort of like an analog system for Game Boy games? We haven't really seen like a handheld retro system, right?
Like of the analog style. Like I guess the one thing you could point to is the Superboy and the Superboy S.
Well, we can point to the Superboys. We got the first Switch. Well, first of all, console gaming on a go. We got the first Switch, which was the Turbo Express.
Yeah,
you could play TurboGrafx games on a go. Right. It looked more like a satellite phone than a gaming system. Then you got the Sega Nomad, where you could play Genesis games on a go. I took up every battery you had in the house. Mm-hmm. And then I can't think of anything. Then obviously the Switch. Console gaming on a go, Superboy and the Superboy S. I can't really think of anything else.
Yeah, I mean,
there was nothing for the Game Boy or the Game Gear, right? No, there was no Retron 5 handheld for the Game Boy or the Game Gear. You can play Game Boy and Game Gear games on a Retron 5.
I mean, yeah, there's like some like all-in-one systems or systems that like kind of will go get Game Boy and you shove an SD card in the side, but none of them are any good. They all have their flaws. Like there's a good market there, and Analog is totally the company to step up and do that, right? They love Nintendo. They made two NES clone consoles, the NT and the NT Mini. They did the Super Nintendo Mini, right? Super Nintendo NT or something, I think.
Yeah.
Or the Analog Super or something like that.
All expensive.
Yeah. The most recent one was the Genesis, the Mega SG or something, I think. And so, I mean, they've done a couple of these now. Why not do the Game Boy? All right. I mean, I would buy one in a heartbeat, right?
I thought we were going places when I think Hyperkin. I think it was Hyperkin that had that.
Oh, they had the patent.
They had that add-on. Well, they had that add-on for your cell phone.
Oh, where you could kind of like slide your phone in, and you had like the controls of the Game Boy, right? And it would display on the top part of the screen. I think was the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, nice idea and all, but. But I mean, you're still relying on emulation to get all that stuff, like emulation on your phone, right?
Yeah.
Which the idea is great, but honestly,
it didn't work for all phones. It was only and it was only for Android. It didn't really. Right. I don't think it did too well.
No, it kind of just came in. But it was
I think it was a good concept though.
Well, sure, most definitely. If you want my honest opinion, though, if they made like a Rolls Royce, like BMW level, C-class level portable Game Boy or whatever, I would pick it up in a heartbeat. Right? It'd be great, man. It'd have backlighting. You'd probably even have maybe HDMI out. It'd have a battery backup, so you could just like charge it and not have to worry about AA batteries. Be great, So
I don't like to play modded. I don't like to have my original systems modded. Mm-hmm. But if I did have a modded system, I would want a modded Game Boy, just so I can have like the backlighting on it.
Oh, the backlighting is sweet.
Yeah, it's king.
Yeah. Oh, so there's someone that does. There's a couple of people that do like a nice like blue LED backlight, and it just it looks so good. Looks so good.
Oh, so just as a side topic, something that got me excited over the weekend, or let's just say before the weekend. I was super excited. I didn't get a chance to text you. You know, I'm a big Netflix guy. I love having Netflix, mostly for the Marvel TV shows that no longer all canceled, no longer going to be on Netflix.
R.I.P. Defenders.
Not a big Netflix original fan. I tried, but some of those movies are just kind of cheesy in my view.
You don't like the Ridiculous Six starring Adam Sandler?
No. No. So I am all excited for this Disney Plus coming out. And you did say too, because you brought it up, you said, what were they going to do with Hulu? Because they own like the majority stake in Hulu, because they bought Fox. They were like 60-70% at Hulu, or some ridiculous thing like that.
Like how do they handle the content? Yeah.
But a cool new package that they sort of announced, you get Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN Plus, because remember, ESPN is owned by Disney.
Right, which also owns ABC, so it's a whole big thing.
Owns ABC. You get all three services for one low monthly price of $12.99, which is the same price for Netflix.
That's crazy. I
may be jumping ship. I may be jumping ship. I gotta say,
maybe jumping ship or getting this in addition to everything else.
I'm gonna have to. I can't. I'm probably gonna cancel Netflix.
Really? Wow. You really don't care how Stranger Things ends?
I'll get it back just for that, or I'll take somebody else's account.
You can buy and watch it. We'll watch it on the new TV.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
So, that's a side note. That got me super excited because they're getting 3 quality streaming services. Well, I don't know what Disney Plus is going to be. I mean, you really know what they say it's going to be, but Hulu is definitely quality. More TV shows than anything. And now that I don't subscribe to Stars, I definitely want to see Power. And ESPN, big sports guy, and I want my Disney TV shows. And if these TV shows are going to be good quality, just like the Netflix shows, maybe not as dark, I'm all in. So I thought it was a great bang for your buck, $12.99.
So, I'm curious because I think right now I'm paying probably about $10 to $11 just for Hulu itself, right? So why not jump on board, right? I don't think this kind of introductory bundle price is going to last forever. So 100%, I'll get in while the getting's good, while the price is right. I'll take it. I'm probably not going to watch much of the ESPN stuff, but I will watch all the Disney Marvel stuff and all the Disney Pixar movies and animated shorts for sure.
When the Giants win the Super Bowl, I bet you'll be watching ESPN Plus.
Oh, you better believe it. I mean, if ESPN has the rights to stream all of the football games like that, for sure. I know they get one game a week, right? That streams on their network, but yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. That is a supremely good deal. For anyone who has Hulu or ESPN, right, as separate services right now, like the ESPN Plus, whatever it is. Get in on this.
People, if you have cable, right? And
you'll kind of get that tossed.
Probably ESPN. It's mostly if you have Hulu and you want to get to Disney Plus. This is, I think this is mainly for people. They're trying to say, hey, look, we don't want to diversify our crowd. If you got Hulu, this is a way you can get Disney Plus too. And we're just throwing in ESPN.
Right? Yeah. No, it's a good value, man. There's a lot of content here, and I bet you, since Disney is doing all the stuff, and since they own ABC, I wonder if they're going to make ABC programming exclusive to Hulu. Right?
Ooh. Oh, you know what? I don't think they would do it to Hulu.
Well, I'll tell you, Friends, which is owned by Friends is owned by NBC Universal, and they're taking Friends off of Netflix. Very soon, it's being taken off and moving somewhere else. I think it's going to their own streaming network. So we're starting to see the division lines happen. And everyone's doing their own thing. It's getting back to where it was again, where there was all these different cable channels,
Well, because look at CBS. I want to watch the Twilight Zone, but I don't want to pay for CBS streaming.
So, that's crazy. Yeah.
I want to watch Cobra Kai, but I don't want to pay for YouTube streaming.
Cobra Kai is great, man. You pony up and get that. You got to get that.
So, Dave. In the last 2 weeks, you get any good pickups?
Oh, Dan, did I get good pickups? Yes, I did. So, my good friends Nick and Severio, they gifted me, in no particular order, a hell a ton of video games. I'm not going to go through all of them. Severio gave me all of his cases, which I'll take. I did a lot of case upgrades. Some of my cases were, cracked or faded or this and that. They were Goodwill finds. They were a little bit cruddy. His cases were in supreme condition. So I swapped out a bunch of those. I have a bunch of leftover cases I don't know what to do with, right? And then Nick gave me a bunch of 360, PS3, and Wii games, which was great. Some of the games were loose, so I was able to pair up the cases with the discs. Boom, boom, boom. There it is. You make a CIB, complete in box, up on the shelf. So if you want to see everything, take a look at the Instagram. I believe it is the latest post, or one of the latest posts from us. Two things of note. I did get the Modern Warfare 2 Special Edition goggles, which were pretty cool. And I got a PC Engine CD-ROM buying catalog. Tiny little thing from 1994. It's mostly in Japanese. It's a little hard to read, but super cool, Oh,
so you got that Halo 2 Special Edition.
Well,
Case.
Sure. I sure did. I got Halo 2, Halo 3, Halo 4, Halo Reach.
No, you got all the you got all the Halos, but you got the Special Edition Halo 2. But just like me, you're missing the plastic covering that went over it. You just have the steel book.
I do have one, I think, that has the plastic covering.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I got that.
Listen, that was awesome. That was awesome. You got a lot of games. A lot of games.
Yeah.
I picked up a few things from retro from Luke. I got my Lukey Hall and my retro gaming pickups and my trip to the Nintendo store. So I picked up the Isabelle Amiibo for I picked that up at the Nintendo store because I had to go buy Super Mario Maker 2 for a contest winner. So while I was there, I got that, and I got something that I've been trying to get since like last November, and I couldn't get it. I even tried to get it for you to add in your Christmas gift, which was all Zelda themed. And I bought it on Amazon, and every month they told me it was shipping. It was shipping this month. It was shipping this month. And finally, I would think in May, I canceled my order. So from November to May, it was shipping every month, and finally I canceled my order. But I finally found it in stock at the Nintendo store, and that's the metal Zelda coasters.
Oh, very nice, very nice. You can find those up on our Instagram as well. Take a look. They look like real cool. It seems like they're a little hard to get.
They are hard to get. I even at the Nintendo store I was like, "Oh, you got the coasters?" And he's like, "Yeah, finally. You better buy it before it gets sold out." Right? Everybody wants the Zelda coasters, which I'm using right now as I sip my cold beverage.
Nice.
I picked up Little Big Planet on the PSP. A game I thought I had, and I obviously didn't. I have X-Men Legends 1 on the GameCube. I thought I had X-Men Legends 2 Rise of the Apocalypse, but I didn't. So I picked that up on the PSP. Just it goes with all the Marvel Alliance games. Yeah,
it's the same kind of beat 'em up, just in the X-Men, specifically X-Men universe. Yeah.
I got 8 Eyes for the NES. I've never even heard of this game.
8 Eyes. That was based off a Japanese anime / manga, I think.
Wow, I knew nothing about it. But at the Retro Gaming Expo, I got Shinobi's Legion for the Sega Saturn.
Interesting.
I got the American version. I'm sure there was a Japanese version. It's probably cheaper, but I got the American version, long box. Nice. Perfect condition. Got it from Gotham. I got it from the Gotham's game booth. He gave me a great price.
I know those guys. They're like deep down in Brooklyn. If you're ever down in that area, over in the island that is long, the Long Island, and you're down in the Brooklyn area, check out those guys. Right. Deep in Brooklyn. What?
And shout out to them because I did ask him. He gave me, because I spent the money on this game, he gave me a free Pac-Man mug because I love my gaming mugs. Drink my coffee in the morning. But I did inquire about this, and he said, "Just take it. It's yours. Thanks for being a customer," which I thought was awesome. You know how I love my demo disc. I saw War of the Monsters. Anthony was trying to get me to buy War of the Monsters for PS2.
It's a good game.
I They had it, but it didn't have a manual, and the box looked like it wasn't the original box, so I didn't buy it. And then, just oddly enough, we saw the demo disc, and I was just like, "Hey, how much for the demo disc?" And he said, "Listen, thanks for being a good customer. Like, just it's yours."
Nice.
So because of that, I ended up buying 2 more games. I bought Spider-Man for the Game Boy Color and Spider-Man 3 for the Game Boy.
Nice.
And I got a good price on some gaming magazines. You know, I love my magazine. So,
see, I can't do that. Dan. That's a bridge too far for me. The gaming magazines.
I didn't want to buy too much, just because I got to lug it home. They were like $2 a piece, so I did pick up a bunch
they're
of
heavy,
gaming
man.
magazines.
They are heavy. Definitely
they can be heavy.
You know what I do want, and I had Nintendo Power magazine since episode 1. I had the Nintendo Fun Club magazine, like original membership to that way back in '87. Had a couple issues of that, and they turned into the Nintendo Power. I had like episode 1, volume 1, up until like the 60s or 70s, and I think my parents got rid of all of them. If I were to get anything, I would get the first edition with the Claymation Mario and the Claymation Wart of Super Mario Brothers 2 on the cover. I would get a good copy of that. All right.
I had that too, and when I first started collecting, and I've told the story a million times, so I'm not going to get into the story of how I got into collecting. It was just me buying everything I used to have, and then I bought everything I couldn't afford, and then I bought everything I didn't even know existed. I had that magazine too. I think everyone had that magazine.
Oh, of course, it's classic, man.
And that was one of the first things. It was one of the first things I bought when I went back into collecting. When I got into collecting, I was like, I need that magazine. I had it. I do have it. I don't have the poster. The one I bought didn't have the poster.
Oh yeah, the little poster you could like take the pins out, put it up on the wall. Sure.
That magazine is going up in price a little bit. And when I say going up in price, it's not little Samson money, but
it's like $10, maybe 15 or something.
A little bit more. Look a little higher.
Maybe like 20 or 25. It's still in that
range. It's in that range.
Still ain't that much. Yeah.
Still in that range. So yes, but I actually, out of all the magazines I picked up, and I only picked up like 4. No, yeah, 5. 5. I picked up 5 magazines altogether. The one I did get, what I specifically picked out, what I really wanted, was the Nintendo Power with GoldenEye on the cover. I didn't have that.
Oh,
so I always wanted that when I was a kid. So it was a good price. So I love collecting. You love collecting. My collection's getting bigger. Definitely need to get a bigger space to spread this stuff out.
You've been needed to get a bigger space for a while, but I understand what it is. You're still, you're paying off the house still and all that, and it's an expensive endeavor.
I buy the things that I like to play or want to play eventually.
You have to get a little selective after a while, right?
Yeah.
You can't just keep going for like the lot of Barbie games to fill out the collection, because you don't have room for them anymore, right?
That's like every Wii game. I think I have all the good Wii games.
You have all the good Wii games, all 20 of them.
So I think it's like 100 Wii games.
100 good ones?
I think it's like 100. Maybe 50. Maybe 50 must-buys and 50.
Being a little gracious.
I'm mad that I bought the Spyro collection for the PS4, and I even got like one of the special edition boxes.
Yeah.
With the sock. I had to get the sock. Well, Spyro socks that I'll never wear.
Spyro socks. Please don't. You got to keep those in pristine condition, Dad.
So I'm pretty pissed off because the Spyro collection that's coming out on the Switch, they show the box art online, and nowhere on the box does it say download. Because remember, on the PS4 and the Xbox One version, you get the first game and you have to download the other 2 games.
Right.
For the Switch is probably the definitive version to buy, because it looks like if you don't have to download anything, you get all 3 games on the cart. So I may have to buy this. That's
an interesting turn. Typically, the PlayStation and Xbox games are full on disc, and the Switch ones, because they don't want to pay the extra money for the larger carts, they'll just say like, there's part of the game or a little bit of the game on there, and the rest you got to download, and it saves them a ton of money because the cartridges are a little expensive. Interesting
but
that they did that.
If they can compress it and fit all 3 games, right?
If you can, sure. I mean, it's like, well, I mean, it's the remasters.
Well, we think that they. Well, the whole rumor is that they maybe rushed it to market because they want to get out the holiday season, and the only way to do that was to put the first game on the disc. But now it's been a whole year later because it's coming out. I think it's coming out next month. I could be wrong about that. I know it's coming out soon. So they had a whole year essentially to fit all 3 games on one disc.
Nice.
So
that's fantastic. And now you're a little bit upset because you.
Well, now I got to buy this over again.
You went out and bought. You were going to buy it anyway, though.
No, was it?
The man who buys everything was going to buy it again. It's in your title, Dan. It's Dan, the man who buys everything, Robinson.
Dan. I do buy everything.
Exactly,
I'm being strategic.
I
still didn't buy Samurai Showdown. Let's get out of here.
All right.
Wait for that to come down in price.
Yeah, of course. When it gets to like $30, boom.
Oh my! You know what? This digital feature, it's coming, and I'm not happy. I'm just saying.
No, Dan, we are not happy. I mean, but it's an inevitability. So you gotta get while the getting's good. You gotta get the games now. Get them for a good
PlayStation.
price.
PlayStation announced, with the announcement that they officially hit 100 million copies sold. Right, they're like the 3rd best-selling console right now.
Oh, and, wow! You just happen to know that information. Happen to drop that information.
I
understand.
Just 3rd best-selling console of all. The third best-selling home console.
Sorry, I had a little something on my throat.
Yeah, clear that out. Cough that phlegm up. But they also announced that for the first time, digital sales eclipsed physical sales.
Yeah, that's a very interesting statistic.
So maybe we need to open up more GameStops around the world.
I can't even keep the ones that they have open.
And we'll talk about GameStop later in the show. But all digital feature is scary. For reasons like this, DuckTales Remastered is being delisted from digital services later this week. So if you own it, download it, because if you don't download it, you won't be able to download it ever again. I'm sure this has something to do with licensing issues. Licensing issues is the reason why everything gets delisted, right?
Oh, I think 100%. DuckTales is a Disney property, right?
But this is not a problem for me. You know why? Because I have the game physically for the Wii U and the PS3.
See, there you go.
See, that's what happens when you have a physical game.
Dan, I have the digital version for my phone, which I got for free.
My gosh.
Which I got for free from the Amazon Game Store. It is not the best experience using your phone because it is standard controller style. It's a side-scrolling action-adventure game where you run around, and they have the digital controls that are overlaid over the screen. It's not the best. I'll tell you that.
I understand. I beat this game and got like a bunch of trophies on the PS3, and again, I own it for the Wii U. I definitely want to beat it again. I'm probably going to go back to it on the Wii U and play it. So... I really like this game, but this is scary when you talk about the all digital feature.
Yeah.
So just keep that in mind. If you own a copy of Spyro, you may not be able to download the last 2 games, Spyro 2 and 3, later on, 10 years from now.
I know.
Right? You may be only playing Spyro 1.
That's why all those PS4 fans around the world are clutching their console with the PT demo that's downloaded. Never again going to be able to.
We are. Damn right we are.
Never again.
Damn right we are.
Will that demo be anywhere?
I think I played it 2 Halloweens ago.
Oh my god.
You're damn right we are.
Yeah, it's scary as hell.
So Dave, as we always try to start the show, epically fail. What have you been playing?
I think this is the biggest fail ever done. We are so far into the show right now, but it's okay because it is my favorite part of the show. I love it. And I regret to inform that Dave Rotino, retro video game collector, Has not been playing anything for the past 2 weeks.
What?
If you can believe it.
You didn't take the Switch with you to the island that's long?
I mean, I did. I did not get a chance to play it.
You just didn't play it.
We were too busy eating and drinking beer and having a good time and just hanging out. Yeah. It's sad to say. I bring my Switch to work and I don't even have time to play it on the subway. I'm too busy doing other stuff, listening to the podcast, this and that. It's a lot, Dan. So I have failed as a gamer this week. I failed as a gamer for the past 2 weeks.
I feel you. Going to work in the morning. I'm not a morning person.
No.
I'm like, I just want to sleep on a bus.
Right.
So
I want to get that extra time in.
I don't want to play any games. Coming home, I do. But so I did beat Crash Team Racing Story Mode.
Nice. Golf clap all around, Dan. Well done.
Thank you.
Well
I mean, it's
done.
still like 38% of what you can do in the game.
No. You beat the game. It's all good. You know, you were definitely not Gerard the completionist over here.
100% not. No.
Yeah. You're like 38%.
I even cut my beard, so I have like a baby face right now.
Wait. Oh. Hey. All right. I don't know what does that have to do with.
Well, he's Gerard the completionist. He's like the beard guy,
he's got the big beard.
Fear the beard. And
I'm sorry.
He's the fear the beard in gaming. We got James Harden in basketball.
I missed that, Dan. Sorry.
You gotta bring it together. Come on. But being at the Long Island Retro Gaming Expo, I played the game that I played the most of, because I played a lot of terrible games. I feel like I was the angry video game nerd. I played a lot of terrible games. I don't remember the names of these games that were so bad. And I specifically, I didn't want to play. Listen, I didn't want to play Smash Brothers. They had Smash Brothers. They had all the versions of Smash Brothers.
Oh, I'm sure.
N64, the GameCube. Like, I didn't want to play any of that. They had Street Fighter. I mean, you know, how many times I'm going to play Street Fighter? I play Street Fighter all the time. I need a break from Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat. So I played a lot of bad games. I wanted to crack open a 3DO. I played a bunch of 3DO games that were all terrible. I forgot. It was so terrible I forgot the name. I didn't even take a picture for the Instagram. I should have. But the game that I played the most of was Narc. Me and Anthony played the crap out of Narc arcade cabinet. And the second level was the longest level I've ever been on in my life. I mean, how many quarters would have this killed if this was in the actual arcade? Like, this is crazy.
Narc
we were like, is this level ever going to end? Like, why is this level so long?
So Narc is fascinating, right? You play as a, I guess, right? It's a cop or a DEA agent, and you have to like take down these like these drug kingpins, and it's so bloody. Like, you get, like, machine guns and rocket launchers and shotguns and all that, and you're just mowing down criminals. And there's, like, blood everywhere. The game is insane.
I love it how the drug dealers are throwing needles at you.
Oh, yeah,
And when you get hit, you just get paralyzed because you're on drugs.
Yeah, you're hit with a little bit of the cocaine. The
oh
cocaine.
God, the '80s were ridiculous.
I know.
This game, the arcade came out in 1988.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So we played the crap out of Narc. Then we went and played some computer games. Like I played the Commodore 64 for the first time.
Oh, how good is that console or computer? I guess.
Yeah, the screen they had on the one that we were I don't know if it was like I don't know if they sort of modded the screen because it looks super clear. I've never played it. I never played a Commodore 64. Matter of fact, I didn't even heard of the Commodore 64 until I became a collector. So I never knew what that was. So I was like, oh, the screen is super clear on this. Like, you know, it was like super clear. Well, the monitor, at least they hooked it up to.
Yeah. So, they must have had a modded or something. Well, it could have been the C64 Mini, which had HDMI output. I don't know. Possibly, because I mean, as far as I know, the best it could do was composite output, right? Regular, like red, white, yellow output. And that's, typically not that great. It could have been the Mini.
And I got to play the Amiga CD32.
Wow.
that controller is the weirdest controller I've ever had.
Oh yeah,
in my hand.
it's like a boomerang, right?
Oh my god! It's definitely like a Ferrari steering wheel.
Mm-hmm.
It was ridiculous. I don't remember what game I was playing. Anthony knows because he was like, "Oh, that's like the best game on there," and it was terrible. It was terrible. So, no. Listen, I had a good time. I loved even playing the horrible games. I just wish I had a couple of beers first and then go back to play the terrible games. It'd have been more fun. So the retro game, Long Island Retro Gaming Expo is all right. I like it. Listen, we got to go next year. We got to go next year. We got to make it a thing.
Man. 100%.
See, maybe we have a panel. Maybe we'll do the show from Long Island Retro Gaming Expo.
See, now you're thinking, Dan. Now you're thinking.
Who knows? So, all right, why don't we take a break? When we come back, we're getting into the top gaming news of the last 2 weeks. And we're back. All right, let's get into the top gaming news of the last 2 weeks. There's really no easy way to sort of get into it, right? I guess if I gotta, steal a phrase from Philip DeFranco, why don't we just jump into it?
Yeah.
We had 2 mass shootings while we were gone. One in Texas and one in Iowa, I believe.
Ohio, Dayton,
sorry.
and El Paso, respectively.
Yes, it was definitely Dayton.
Right.
Dayton, Ohio.
They were mass shootings. They were terribly awful. There's nothing different that necessarily separates these from the other ones. It's always a big tragedy.
The problem really, I mean, my heart goes out to all the families of the victims
same.
and stuff, because these guys were crazy. How they still can get machine guns and stuff is beyond me.
Automatics or semi-automatics, it's just, it's a whole big thing. We definitely need gun reform. We need new laws in place. We need background checks. We need all that stuff. We need common sense gun laws, like everybody says, but nobody ends up doing anything about, because everyone just either says, "Hey, I don't want new laws because you're going to take away my gun rights," or the other side says, "Guns are awful. Nobody should have any guns. Let's take all the guns away." And we never end up coming to any conclusions.
We should have strict gun laws like New York. I mean, there was a basketball. Look, Plaxico Burress went to jail for just, having a gun, even though they made an example out of him.
Well, it did go off. Granted, in his pants, but
it did go off. It did go off. But other cases, and now we're getting a legal field. Other cases in that same field, you probably, you get a couple of months in jail with probation for a few years, where the mayor definitely wanted to make an example out of him because he was famous. I don't necessarily blame him for that, because I definitely want to deter from that. But Sebastian Telfair, who is from Brooklyn, I believe, and he is a basketball player, he got caught with a few guns because he was driving from Florida, I believe. I don't know exactly where he was driving from somewhere where you could just freely have a gun. He had permits for these guns, but in New York, you can't just have a gun on you. You actually need to get a permit to take the gun wherever you're going.
That's
and the permit back.
Right. That's 100% right.
Because he didn't have it, and he did have permits for the guns, but the guns were from another state, and he got caught with it in his car when he got pulled over. He just got sentenced to like 3 years.
Sure.
So
it's weird that because every state has their own state gun legislation, and there's some federal laws, but a lot of it's at the state level. States want to be able to control that, because if you look at a state like Pennsylvania or maybe like North Dakota or South Dakota, it's very different than New York, where it's most of its people live in the major metropolitan area, Long Island, Manhattan, or one of the 5 boroughs. So everything's real kind of concentrated, right? It's very different when you go upstate, when there's nobody out there and you can just kind of hunt and this and that. But so I kind of get where they're coming from, and a lot of people will say, look, gun violence is because of this, and gun violence is because of that. And back on the table, back on the table again is now video games are the cause of gun violence.
So video games are back in the spotlight where we've always been in the spotlight for something, right? And in the early 90s, it was Night Trap and Mortal Kombat. Games are too violent, too bloody, too graphic for kids.
Yeah, and then they ended up coming around again with the Columbine. They brought up video games and music and cult movies and all that were like to blame, that were poisoning these kids. And, it's not really how it works, like we don't necessarily have to get into the fact that, video games aren't a direct correlation. There is no study out there that definitively proves that, video games will lead someone to violence. It's really not that. It's not movies. It's not music. It's just a way for people to kind of pass the blame, right?
Everyone uses the whole. If you look at other countries that have gun reform and also have violent video games, like Japan is like the number one comparison people go to. Japan, where that's sort of the heart of video games, to be honest, right? Like a lot of
where they got birth from, kind of,
Yeah, and a lot of stuff is censored when it comes. Japanese games are censored when they come to the U.S., so Japanese games can be a little bit more violent, a little bit more vulgar, and they don't have mass shootings.
Right.
Why? You know why? Because they have gun reform.
They have gun reform. They have a very different culture over there. Violence doesn't happen like that.
They said they had something like 10 gun shootings last year, like for the whole year in all of Japan.
I think we've had 10 in the last month. Then
probably
like
weak.
It's
probably weak nationally. Yeah. Like weak.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy what's going on. Putting the blame on video games is not the right thing to do. It doesn't really move the ball anywhere. Video games aren't going anywhere. Video games as a medium, they are number one right now, I think, in terms of total gross, right? They've usurped movies. They've usurped TV. They've usurped music. They are the number one source of revenue income for that particular medium, right? They're like top of the heap, right? Gaming is so ingrained.
But if you blame video games, then you have to blame TV. You have to blame movies.
Well,
You have to blame all of entertainment.
Right.
That sort of semi-glorify violence in some way, form, or fashion.
Right. And it's not to say that the producers of all of that stuff aren't
culpable in some way to be.
Well, they are culpable in some way.
They have a responsibility not to add consequence for your actions.
Well,
sort of.
Okay, yeah. So this is something we were talking about off the mics. You take a game like Grand Theft Auto, right? Or even Mortal Kombat or Night Trap or anything that's like quote unquote pushes the envelope, right? You look at a game like that and you can easily say like, oh, well, this is horrible, this is bad. Why should we ever have a game like this? You just run around mindlessly shooting people, and it's just it's a murder simulator. It's like, well, it's not. It's more like a crime simulator. It's a city simulator. Like they build these realistic lifelike worlds, right? And you as the lead character can kind of go around and kind of do what you want, but for everything that you do in the game, like, if you take out a gun, you start shooting a bunch of people, the cops will come after you, the helicopters will come in, they'll bring the tanks out, and you're going to get arrested or killed, like, on the spot. There's a definitive consequence for that action, right? You do all this dumb stuff, and you're going to get killed, and you're going to have to restart your game and, like, do it all over again, right? You steal from somebody, people are going to run away and scream. If the cops see you and you do that, they're going to arrest you. There's some consequence for your actions. And even in a game like Mortal Kombat, right? You two people that are fighting each other, right? Someone's going to end up losing, right? There's some consequence to it, right? And even like Mortal Kombat, in a way, they have certain restraint. They kind of put things in a certain light. They make sure that the violence is portrayed in a way that puts it over the top, right? It takes it a little bit out of the realm of like realism, a little bit, right? They kind of like separate it a little bit, and that all of that stuff. Like even if you're a music creator or you're like a movie creator, like you have to be careful with what you put out there, right? You have to be considerate of the medium of the thing. If you're going to make a documentary about the KKK, if you're going to make a movie about riots or mass shootings, if you're going to make a movie about the Holocaust, like you have to treat the material with respect when you're putting this thing together, because they're very touchy subjects, right? You can't just go out and make something and expect like, either watch it or don't watch it. It's fine. If you make something very controversial and you're not respectful of the material, like people are going to come after you. So I guess, we're not saying that video games are to blame, but we are saying that creators need to be responsible with what they do, I guess. Right?
Well, with that said, people, I think, are overreacting. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by that is, look at Walmart. Walmart is overreacting. The first thing they do is they start removing violent video game advertisement, and there were some reports that some stores were actually removing quote unquote violent video games from them shelves. Now, Walmart actually put out a statement saying that it is not a store. It wasn't made to be a store-wide policy to remove games from shelves, but right. Certain individual stores sort of made the decision to take those games off the shelves. But they're temporarily moving video game, what they deem as violent video game advertisements. They're pulling their advertising. They're pulling those ads down. Well, temporarily. They will put them back up at some point, but they're taking them down out of respect for the families.
That's interesting because I would assume that some companies would be paying for that ad space, right?
Yeah.
We say, hey, we want this thing in the store. And you go, okay, it'll be this, and we'll put up your standee and all that, and we'll make that happen. Well, I was gonna say beyond that, like, just taking down the violent video games or putting the Call of Duties in the back of the shelf and not making them as prominent. Fine, and that's something that Walmart's been doing since the beginning of time. They've been censoring CD covers and movies and this and that. Like they want to be squeaky clean, super friendly and all that, right? Yet, and I don't know if you were necessarily going to say this, and yet you go across from where the video games are in the electronics section, and there's a sporting goods department where you can buy rifles and shotguns. And in some cases, and in some states, you can buy handguns.
So why, out of respect for the family, why didn't they pull the guns down from the shelves?
Right. Exactly. Because at the end of the day, it's the person that goes in there to buy the gun, which starts all the violence. Right? Yeah, it's weird. It's very, very weird. And I will say this.
They made a statement. They said that they have no plans to pull any of their guns from this show.
Well, no, of course not, because that's like a big part of their business, especially in kind of more rural parts of the world, parts of the U.S., right? In outside of the big metropolises and whatnot, Walmart's the only game in town, right? And, people like to go hunting and this and that. They like to have protection, which is fine. You as an American have a right, it's part of the Second Amendment, to kind of own a firearm, but it also means you need to be responsible, right? One thing I'll say about all this is that I used to work at Walmart back in the day, and I do want to give them some credit, at least for the store that I worked at when I worked in New York. Well, actually, I'm certain that the policies that they have in this store are company-wide, right?
Well, not New York. Not New York City. It's in the island that is long.
The island that is long. Well, yeah. New York State, New York City, the laws are pretty much the same, I think. We weren't able to sell handguns. We did sell handgun ammo, did not sell handguns. We did sell rifles and shotguns. 22s, bolt actions, pump shotguns, and all that. And we had 2 glass cases. We had a key. They were all locked up. We had to take training. There were special procedures. You always had to open the barrel of the gun up, make sure there's no weapon in there. When you or anybody else is examining the gun, they have to aim it at an upward angle towards the sky, never pointed at anybody. Simple stuff like that, right? Other than that, though, basically, if somebody wants a gun, they have to fill out a form. You have to call the ATF, the Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms Organization. You get a lovely, heavy-ass red phone, right? And you dial them up. It's a landline. It is a hardwired landline, right? Big push-button phone. And you call the ATF up, and you give them all the information, and they will give you... Usually, they don't give you an answer right away, right? And this is the one thing I have to praise Walmart for. If you call the ATF up, 9 times out of 10, they're going to say, well, they're going to wait a few minutes, do a quick check, come back and say, we don't have enough information right now. We have to do a deeper investigation. We will get back to you, right? I'm pretty certain something as small as like a parking ticket or driving violations will cause red flags. And they have to look into it a little bit further and figure out what this stuff is, right? Most people will not get a pass right away for whatever reason. Some people will get denied outright, and then it's like, whoa, something's up. And they're like, no, this person can't have a gun, right? If it's a gray area and they say we have to get back to you, you're supposed to wait a week. And New York State law says if the ATF doesn't get back to you within a week with a definitive answer, then you are legally allowed to sell that person a gun. And
wow, interesting. I didn't know
yeah,
that.
yeah. And Walmart's policy is we will not sell you a gun. Right? We will say no. We need to get a clear yes on that situation. Right? We're not supposed to sell them a gun until we get an answer. We can call the ATF up again and say, hey, look, this and that. Well, Walmart's policy is essentially we need to wait for a yes, and then you can sell them the gun, right? So that's great. And then, other smart store policies are if you sell somebody a gun, you have to call the manager up, and the manager comes over, and the manager takes the person out of the store with the gun. They can come back if they wish without the gun to buy ammo, right? Because then otherwise you could just load the ammo up in the gun and then rob the store, right? So
Yeah, I get it.
So yeah, I mean, I have to give Walmart a little bit of credit in that respect, a little bit.
Well, I don't give them any credit for just using video games as a cop out. Because they didn't take any violent movie advertisements down.
Yeah,
they didn't put any violent movies off the shelves.
Right.
That's
right.
They didn't take any violent music. I don't even know if they still sell CDs, but
yeah, a little bit.
Anything violent, it's always someone else. They always pass the blame on to someone else, except for making legislation to have gun laws. Mm-hmm. But I digress. I don't want to. I'm gonna get passionate. I'm gonna get really, really passionate about this. I don't want to get too deep into it.
We obviously feel strongly about it, and we don't think banning video games is the way to go. For sure.
No, or any form of entertainment. Right. I didn't go and watch Terminator 2 and decide I want to go kill people.
No, and that game had tons of violence. Or
that movie.
I should say. Yeah,
well, both the game and the movie.
The game and the movie. You're right.
Yeah, the game was terrible though. But I mean,
well, some of them were okay.
Some of them, some of them.
Dawn of Fate, I think, was pretty good. The arcade shooter.
Yeah.
T2, the arcade game, was also pretty good.
Yeah, but T2 and the Genesis, which I have like 5 copies for, kind of was terrible. Just saying.
Can you give me one of those? I'll take one.
Now you want one? You want to pad out your collection?
I always wanted one. Hey, if you got 5, spread the wealth.
Sticking with politics and sort of how legislation affects video games. We knew this was going to be a thing. We knew this was coming. It may now affect us soon enough. President Trump did put tariffs on China.
Oh yeah.
So, and of course, why do people think that the Chinese or the manufacturers will be paying this tariff? Tariff is just a fancy word for taxes. They're going to always pass that buck on onto the consumer. So Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo both have, they have manufacturing plants out in China.
Everybody who makes electronics has a manufacturing plant in China.
And I think we talked about this. I think we talked about this a few episodes ago that both Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft were looking to move manufacturing out of China, and I think maybe into
save on
Korea.
Money. Yeah,
to save on the tariffs.
Sure.
However, even if they did that, they still can't escape it because a lot of the parts that we have in our consoles are made in China.
Sure,
so
they have a manufacturing plant, so the final assembly is where they would put everything together and then ship it out. But you're right.
Well, that would be Korea, but the parts for those for the systems a lot of them will still be made in China.
Yeah, So they're not going to be able to fully skirt the issue, I guess, is what it is, right? Because I guess what it is you may be thinking well, if they're going to source the parts from China to the Korean plant, right? It's not going directly to America, but then the console is going to America. You can trace back the parts to China. They're probably still going to get slapped with the tariff. So it's
a 25% tariff.
Right, for all goods, goods coming from China.
For all goods. So until now, certain manufacturers have been sort of flipping the bill for that, but that's about to stop. And Sony has stated, and we know that the PS5 and the Xbox Prime. I still think it would be funny if they call it the Prime Xbox, but just to screw with you.
I did.
Like the
Switch
Switch Lite.
Shooting themselves in the foot, Dan.
Switch Lite. Light Switch.
Still bugs me.
With the new consoles coming out, if the console, first of all, they already said that the PS5, which we're coining the PS5, but it better be called the PS5.
Why would it not be? We have the PS1 through 4. Why would they go and do a curveball on us right now?
Well, you know what?
That's almost a guarantee.
This would be a console where they swerve us and they go downhill, and the PS6 would be where they get back on track.
This will actually be the Vita 2.
The PS5 is, by all accounts, way more powerful than a PS4 Pro. So it's probably like 20, 30 teraflops. The teraflop wars have begun. So it's probably going to be like a $400 or $500 console. If it's traditionally, consoles have been by the hundreds, right? $199, $299, $399, $499, or PS5. Or the PS3 was like $599. If it's anything that's not in the hundreds, where it's like $529.99 or $429.99,
we know exactly,
and we know why that price comes from the tariffs.
Exactly.
That would be some weird. Hey, you want to get the PS5 and Xbox Prime? Yeah, they're both $449.99, which is a weird price to have it at, right?
Right. Exactly. So there's really no way around it. It is what it's going to be. There's no way for us to get around it, right? The price is what the price is. We either buy it or we don't buy it, and we all know we're going to buy it. Of course.
But let's, again, continue on the politics. It's been really a political show. We've been like a political video game podcast today.
Mm-hmm. A little bit.
Stick with politics. We don't want politicians. We don't want the government to start regulating the industry. That's why in '92 we started regulating ourselves. That's why we have the ESRB. We put the ratings on the games. And now, the new thing that's always been in the news before video games and violence was in the news recently has been loot boxes.
Mm-hmm.
So I said I want the ESRB to step in and regulate loot boxes as well, right? Because we don't want legislation, because they're for the last year and a half, 2 years, or ever since Star Wars Battlefront 2 came out. It's always been in the news about legislation about loot boxes in other countries. Yeah. Belgium, is one of the famous countries. That have the infamous loot box laws. They banned it completely, and now we don't want that in America. So Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo have partnered up once again once again, they've been partnering up a lot, right?
Right? Yeah.
They're partnering up to take manufacturing out of China, partnering up to talk about tariffs. The President Trump partnered up at the video game at the Game Awards.
Mm-hmm.
They've been doing a lot of partnering up, a lot of buddy. And,
Yeah.
you know, we will have one master console one day, hopefully.
I don't know about I don't know about all that, but
they've partnered up to require developers to disclose loot box odds going forward.
Mm-hmm. This is a good thing. This is definitely a good thing. You know, the government's not putting a regulation down. The ESA is a private organization, I guess, a private body, which kind of, you know, controls a lot of the video game stuff. I believe the ESRB is associated with the ESA, right? Private organization, which puts the ratings on all the video games. That does not come down from the government, you know. So it's all kind of like privately being policed. This is great. Now, question is, do you think disclosing loot box odds when you go and fire up your Gears of War and you say, oh, here's this rec pack you can buy for 500 credits, and, you know, which equates to like $5, get you 500 credits, you can open a thing, and you have a 1% chance of getting a rare or whatever it is. Do you think that's going to stop people from buying the loot box?
No.
Not at all.
I think it would help a little bit, but I don't think it would be a massive help. But it will sort of be there to. It's like when they passed the laws. Well, I don't know if this was a federal thing, at least in New York, when they, you know, all the fast food restaurants or any restaurant had to disclose how many calories you're getting from each meal.
Yeah. It was a big move toward letting people know what you're actually ingesting. All right.
You know, they want to stop obesity. Mm-hmm. They're trying to stop obesity in America.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how well that helps. I still buy the Big Mac or the Whopper.
Sure.
When I first saw those numbers, I thought that was the price. I was like, "What? How much is this?"
That's funny. You know, and in that respect, I have 100% agree with you. It makes you acutely aware, but you're still going to want that Big Mac, right? Because they have all that secret sauce in there. That's like, oh, it's delicious. I still want it.
But I have nobody to blame but myself. So you have to
You're right.
Sort of self. I can't be in denial and say I didn't know that this wasn't healthy. It just had this many calories. Well, it's right there
because they're putting it in front of your face.
They put it in front of your face. So now you have to take some responsibility for your own actions and say, you know what? I know this is bad for me. I know this has this many calories. I know the odds suck for this loot box, but I'm going to buy it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
It's like any other addiction where you need help, right? And all they can do is put the disclaimers out there. But at the end of the day, if you're going to buy it, you're going to buy it. This having loot box odds isn't going to stop this little kid from racking up a credit card bill on his mother's credit card. I think this is a good step. This is a step in a good direction to say, hey, we've put it out there. We've put the disclaimers out there. Mm-hmm. This is up to individual people to take responsibility to know that it's probably not worth buying. But
well, sure, yeah.
I don't think it's gonna put a big enough dent into the pockets of these companies, developers.
Yeah, I mean, mostly. Like this would certainly have brought to light the Battlefront 2 Darth Vader grind out for 40 hours thing, like straight out in the forefront, right? And it may make developers think twice before putting in these steep uphill climbs, you know, to get a particular character or, you know, to get a particular weapon or, you know, whatever it is.
What they're going to do is, but because now they have to put the odds out, they're going to make it a little bit more in your favor to where if it was like 1 out of a 10 chance.
It's going to be now like 2 out of 10, yeah.
It's probably going to be like 4 out of 10 now, right?
Yeah,
they're going to put the odds a little bit in your favor.
Exactly.
But you know what company probably most dislikes this? That's EA. EA probably hates this.
They're at the forefront of the scandal, like across the board. Anytime loot boxes are being talked about,
they wanted to fight. They said there must be jail time in Belgium, and they still fought it and said we don't care. We're putting it out there.
Dan, they're not loot boxes. They're surprise mechanics.
Oh yeah,
right?
I'm sorry.
Surprise mechanics. It's so
they're still fighting this, but
yeah.
the only people who win are the lawyers.
Of course,
That's my industry.
they always make their money.
We always make the money. But EA was like, I mean, I'm sure just fighting this loot box battle isn't making EA doing EA any favors in the eye of the public. I mean, they were voted like the worst company in the world for like 2 or 3 years straight. I think last year was the first year in 2-3 years they weren't voted the worst company. I forgot who was voted the worst company, but it was still on the list. They weren't number 1, but they were like number 2. All right, so this is I'm sure they're the whole loot box fight again is not doing them any favors in as far as public opinion, and neither are the recent comments from EA executives from like a board meeting or the investors calling. You know how I love my investor calls regarding Switch owners. Now, I honestly, I totally missed this. Like it just flew past me. I didn't really notice that we don't really have that many EA games on the Switch.
No, we don't have any. They kind of dipped their toes in the water with like FIFA 18 and that didn't do so great. And then I think they did NBA 2K, NBA 18 maybe, was that them?
No. 2K is
well, 2K, yeah. But didn't they like put out a basketball one or no?
No.
So all they did was FIFA.
All they did was FIFA.
And FIFA didn't do that well, so I think they didn't do a FIFA 19.
You know why I didn't do that well? They couldn't monetize it on loot boxes.
Well, I don't know.
Because the Switch online structure for the Switch isn't as good as the Xbox One and PS4. That's why.
I mean, no, the infrastructure is definitely lacking. It is the worst of the three, behind Sony, behind Xbox, which is the king for online gaming, but
they argue that Switch owners would generally prefer to play their EA games on either the Xbox One or the PS4. That is a strong gamble. Well, they're saying that, and then there is a study that's not their study. There is a study that says most people who have an Xbox One or PS4 have a Switch as sort of the secondary console. All right, it's not you have either a PS4 or Xbox One or a Switch. It's you either have a PS4 or an Xbox, but both have a Switch, right? So
yeah, I mean that certainly may be true, but that study, well, what that study doesn't bring to light is the Switch is portable, right? To be able to play FIFA on the go or NBA Live. 18, Live. NBA Live 18 on the go, like those Nintendo commercials promised me. I can sit there at a basketball court and play virtual basketball, but no, I can't because EA refuses to make NBA Live 18 for the Switch
or Madden
even, right? Their biggest sports title. It's crazy. This is
a grave mistake on their part. Miscalculation on their part. The Switch is growing faster than anybody could have imagined.
Yeah.
I think people would. I have 2K18 on the Switch. The thing I don't like about it is that I had to download half the game. Which takes up so much space, and I had to, on my memory card on the Switch, I had to delete it because of that. That's why I didn't play it anymore, because I had to delete it for space issues. I know, get a bigger memory card, but you know what? I buy everything. I buy all the games. Like, it's only so much I can buy.
All right. Right.
So yeah, I mean, I would love if they could put out a live. Let's just say they could put out a live where the whole game,
they could
graphically downgraded, and the whole game is on the cart, where you don't have to download half the game. I would buy it in a heartbeat. I mean,
I would buy
Madden. Madden.
They obviously have the resources. Switch. They have the resources to do this. So the manpower is not the issue, right? They're probably one of the biggest, maybe even like the biggest game producer company out there, right? So resources aren't an issue, right? Obviously, they want to make sure that their game makes money, but I think they're making a bad move too. I don't know.
Gross miscalculation.
Yeah.
I gotta say, on their part.
Mm-hmm.
But it leads me again. I love the 2K series, and if I can have live, again, if I can have live, all on the cart, or Madden all on the cart, I would buy it in a heartbeat for the Switch because I can play it on the go.
Right.
I don't know if I have the patience. I'm not that big enough fan to want to play Madden on my Xbox One. Even though I do want to try story. I do want to try story mode, and if they had it on a Switch with story mode, I would have bought it already. So missing out on money. But I love the 2K series. 2K series is the best basketball out there. As a side note, I think it's funny how Live dominated for so long in the 90s. And then the 2K series came on and just blew them out the water ever since like 2K, I think 06. I think 06. Right. Like since 06, they blew them out of the water. And then one of the lead directors or producers from 2K, the NBA 2K series, went to EA. The Live that year, which I believe was Live maybe 11 or 12, could be. I forgot which one. Don't crucify me. I forgot which one it was. They said it made a vast improvement, and it was like up there in the 2K series that year, right? So there was real competition. And then he left EA and went back to 2K, and then they went back down. Live was just like a laughingstock, a joke. No one cared. No one liked it. So I like the I love the 2K series. I love the WWE 2K series too.
I know.
I love them I always buy them. But recently, in the last like 3-4 years, it's gotten stale. Where I only buy them now when they're in the bargain bin because I want to see the entrances. And the Switch port was just terrible.
Oh yeah, it was done really badly.
But Ukes has been the studio that's been dealing with developing the WWE series since SmackDown, I believe. Since the original
back
SmackDown.
when like THQ had the license, Ukes would be the developer, THQ would be the producer. And then when THQ went out, 2K picked up the license, and Ukes was still on board to do the all the development work.
Well, they co-developed it. They were like co-developing it with another in-house studio for 2K.
Yeah, I have to say that the wrestling visual concepts. Visual concepts
For the longest time have been co-developing with Ukes.
One thing I'll have to say, the games are great. The details of the game are very good. They have a ton of different modes, a ton of wrestlers. The creator wrestler is always on point. I have to say the graphics aren't always the best. Right? They always look good, but they never wow. They never wow like a Death Stranding or a Metal Gear 5 or a Gears of War or a Halo.
I'll be honest, I think the graphics have looked the same in the last 3-4 years.
Yeah, they just like 2K, here's an engine, and then we're good.
2K20 looks like 2K. I can easily make a case that 2K20 looks just like 2K18. Or 2K17.
You wouldn't be able to tell the difference. All right.
The only thing that's different are the wrestlers.
Right.
The gimmicks.
Right.
The entrances.
Right.
It's all the same.
You look at John Cena from 2K17 and John Cena from 2K19. I bet you couldn't tell the difference.
Well, you can. He has different hairstyle, so.
Well, I mean, you know what I mean, though. You know what I mean.
I know. But this has been. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago because there were talks that 2K would split the two studios where Ukes would be doing working on sort of a new IP, a new wrestling IP, and then we sort of speculated what that could be. But now Ukes is gone completely. Ukes and 2K have split completely. They're on their own. Which makes me wonder if this was a business move on 2K's part, where they allowed Ukes to co-develop for so long that they've built visual concepts. Has it down packed where they can make the game themselves and they don't have to share the spotlight, right? Because this is all Ukes has ever done, wrestling games since the original SmackDown.
Pretty much.
So.
I mean, I think they may have also done some like some movie or TV tie-ins or cash grab stuff, but it's mostly been the wrestling games.
So that new IP, the new wrestling IP with new wrestling mechanics and a new look that was rumored a couple of weeks ago that we did talk about. Yep. Could that be Ukes doing something different with maybe another wrestling company like New Japan or AEW. Screw it. You know, it's AEW. I want to do let's do AEW. They're the new kids on the block.
AEW is coming up. Like Chris Jericho is like kind of helming this. He put a lot.
Well,
of
Chris Jericho is their head. And I know we talk Sharks and wrestling too. Chris Jericho, I'm a big wrestling fan. Chris Jericho is their biggest name star they have, but Cody Rhodes, the son of Dusty Rhodes and the brother of Goldust, is one of the top executives for the company with the Young Bucks. Yep. And the Khan family, who own the Jaguars in NFL.
Yep.
They are billionaires. They have more money than the McMahon family.
Yeah. So I've only seen like some clips of AEW. It does look really good. I like kind of the direction they're moving in. It would be nice to see some other competition out there wrestling game wise, because typically it's either the 2K wrestling games or the Fire Pro series, which doesn't always make its way over here to the States. All right.
No, it does. It just doesn't come with any advertisement at all. I saw it in GameStop.
It does.
I saw it in GameStop last month.
Well, I have the new one, which is like the first one they've done in the stateside in a long time. All right, there's like a handful of ones. I know there was one for the Game Boy Advance that came out. There was this PS4 one. There's a ton of them in Japan, though. You know. And that's really it. We just have those two, you know. I like to see a third wrestling competitor enter the ring. Make it like the old days, all right?
Well, you know, remember WCW versus the NWO.
Oh, it's classic. N64 classic, man.
You know that those were before WrestleMania 2000.
That's right.
So they set the standard because WWF at the time had a claim make their games and. WWF Attitude for the PlayStation
not as good.
I listen. It's one of those things when you're a kid and you have them. You know, I had both. I had the WCW versus NWO and I had WWF Attitude, and I was a WWF guy. So I'm like, yeah, okay, I like it. Let's go, okay. But WCW game was best. I played it more. It was just better. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah.
WrestleMania 2000, best wrestling game of all time. Just putting it out there.
So good. So good.
Love those games. games. So hopefully Ukes is making either they have something else up their sleeve, they could do something else, maybe not a wrestling game, or take what they've been doing for so long and bring that to, AEW, do something different with a wrestling game. That'd be nice. So let's talk about another split. Not a banana split, even though I wish I had a banana split, right?
Dan,
I'm a little hungry. I'm a little hungry.
You and me both, Dan. Oh, a little bit of vanilla ice cream, some whipped cream on top, throw a cherry on there.
Yeah, chocolate sauce too. Chocolate. The chocolate sauce.
Of course, you gotta have the chocolate sauce.
Okay.
Come on now.
Okay.
I'm not a heathen. Not a heathen.
So Ninja has recently split from Twitch.
Yeah.
And this is a big thing because I am so proud of Ninja. Just as a gamer, he was the first gamer to be featured on the cover of a magazine that wasn't a game, right? The ESPN magazine, which I still want to get because as a gamer, you should have that because that's part of history. I want to have that magazine in the fold.
We've made it as gamers, right?
We've made it. We've made it. We were on ESPN, but because they said video games are violent, they actually didn't air. They didn't air. Oh my god, I have it right on the tip of my tongue. What's the
one of the
league they have?
Esports tournaments?
Yeah, it was the esports tournament. I know I'm going to think about it when we stop recording or something like that.
Yeah.
When the esports, they were supposed to air it at some point in August, right? And they are not going to air it until October. So they're not going to go live. They're going to tape it and air it in October. So ESPN has even jumped into the fray to take it down.
Interesting.
So, but Ninja leaving Mixer is a big. leaving Twitch for Mixer is a big thing.
It's a huge thing. He's the number one. He's the number one streamer. He's the number one esports star right now. He's king. He's like top of the heap. He's
king, and he's also guaranteed money.
He is definitely guaranteed money.
He has a deal with with Microsoft to exclusively stream on Mixer for guaranteed money. So it's not like when you're a streamer, the life of a streamer is tough because you always have to be on at least like 8 to 9 hours a day.
Oh yeah,
right? Overwatch.
Yeah. You think, like,
Sorry, Overwatch. It was an Overwatch. It was an Overwatch esports tournament.
Right.
That they took down. That they're going to tape him. But sorry, it just came to me. I had to say
it's all good. It's all good. The OWL Overwatch League. Yeah.
So, you make your money by streaming constantly. But now, if he has guaranteed money, right, which I'm sure is in the 7 figures, high 7 figures.
Yeah. Of course.
He gets to be able to, now that he knows the money's guaranteed, he gets to do some fun things.
Wait. You say 7 figures? You mean 6 figures?
No.
You think he got paid over $1 billion?
$1 billion? When are you talking about $1 billion?
Oh, 7 figures as in like tens of millions?
Well, somebody else needs that Donkey Kong math. Somebody else needs that Donkey Kong math.
Set it up, Dan. Set it up. We'll have a tournament. All right, 2 + 2. Let's go. Let's go. Yeah. Tens of millions of dollars. It is I
think he got paid millions of dollars. 7 figures is the high 7 figures is millions of dollars. No, I'm not going to count his money,
isn't it? Oh no, 6 figures, 100,000. Never mind. 7 figures is a million. It's late, Dan. It's late. So yes, he's getting.
You didn't have your banana split yet.
He's getting paid. He's going to be there exclusively. It is people may say, hey, it's a lot of money. It's like whatever, but
he was ranking that in by putting in that work streaming.
No, I know.
So now, but the whole purpose is because the money is guaranteed, right? Because the money is not guaranteed when you stream. When you're just a streamer on Twitch, right? You have to put in that work to get paid. And you get it because you want to keep the audience engaged and always have high numbers when you stream and you get advertisements. Now he has that guaranteed money. He can do different things. He can experiment a little. He can breathe. He can take a vacation. Because that's one thing. I saw an interview with him a long time ago where he said, the hardest thing is taking a vacation and coming to do award shows and stuff like this because it's taking me away from streaming, which is my bread and butter. That's how I pay the bills. Yeah, right? Yeah, and like to have all that stress to be, like you said, to be on camera almost like 8 hours a day. Sometimes it's more than a movie star. Well, it is. It is your job. It is your job. But I mean, it's even more than like being a movie star, right? Movie stars get to take a break. Movie stars act for a couple hours a day, and they're not like instantly on camera, right? Someone's got to like put the movie together. It's over a couple month period, right? It's not so intimate, maybe is the word. I don't know. But like, every day Ninja's got to get up and put the blue dye in his hair and get on camera and turn on that smile and go, okay, let's go, boys. Fortnite, here we go. Well, he wasn't smiling the other day. And he put out a video on the social media because he was pissed at Twitch, and rightfully so. Twitch has a lot of problems, which we're not going to get into details about that right now, because then this will be a 4-hour show.
I know.
I mean, Twitch does a lot of good things. I'm not saying they did bash Twitch, but they have a lot. They got some issues. But Twitch, since he's leaving or left, essentially, his channel was still there with all his subscribers, so they were linking his channel to other streamers. So if you type in Ninja, it'll take you to someone else's channel.
All right.
So he was mad about that, but he didn't say anything. He said he wanted to keep professional, so he kept his mouth shut until it linked to a channel that was streaming porn. Essentially, adult content. Let's just say adult content.
Oops.
They have now taken that down. However, he was pissed because a lot of his audience, most of his audience, his demographic, are kids. And he doesn't want, being associated with porn could ruin his career. And he, so he's very, very pissed off, very adamant that they should at least take his channel down or just leave it alone.
Right.
So they're taking steps. He said they're taking steps to take his channel, to pull his channel down. So, but they have removed the link to that adult content channel, And it seemed malicious that they would letting this happen or do this, right? Because I guess they feel like they're losing one of their big streamers, big money makers, which I can understand why. But this is when you negotiate, maybe make him a better offer, right? Because Microsoft is going full force with the Xbox Prime infrastructure, and Mixer is a big part of that because they own Mixer and they want to make Mixer the number one streaming platform out there.
Of course, and they have the number one streamer now, so definitely a good play on Microsoft's part. They will reap the benefits of this like very quickly within the next couple of years. They're going to see a big return on their investment for sure.
They're making some good investments. I mean, they made a good investment with Mojang, right? Mojang with Minecraft, Ninja. They're buying all the studios. They're making a big push. So I like what I'm seeing from Microsoft.
Right.
Let's stick with the person and the personality field. Let's stick with. I guess he's not a streamer anymore, but he's a fellow podcaster and video game personality, and that is Colin Moriarty. Who runs the Sacred Symbols podcast, which is has become the number one PlayStation podcast out there. So he does a lot of views. He has a big audience. He has a co-star, which is Chris Maldonado, who goes by like Chris Raygun on YouTube.
Yep.
I knew of Chris Raygun. Just because if you're on YouTube and you're surfing channels, you're gonna
come across them, yeah.
Yeah, but I didn't really
recommended,
know. Yeah, I didn't really know. I really didn't watch any of his content, to be honest. And then it was a little surprising when when I found out that him and Colin were doing PlayStation podcasts, and it wasn't surprising of, oh wow, why is Colin partner up with Chris? I didn't even know Chris was a gamer, but I guess gamers came in all shapes and sizes. Of course, he's probably a gamer, but I didn't think he would be on a podcast. I never thought about him as gaming-related content on YouTube or a podcast. I always just thought of him as, the political sort of show. But there was some controversy lately. So PAX West is coming up, or PAX Prime. It's coming up in a few weeks. Colin had the Sacred Symbols podcast had a panel at PAX Prime, and they had it for a while. They've had it for a few weeks to a month because they've been promoting it on their podcast. I know I do listen to Sacred Symbols every now and then, not religiously, but I would say maybe every other episode I try to catch. And recently, their invitation for the panel has been rescinded or canceled. And that is not so much the controversy. The controversy is it was canceled with no explanation why.
They've been very secretive about this. Obviously, PAX apologized. They said, look, we regret to inform you. We have to, rescind your panel. We'll fund you the money for all that stuff and whatnot. But the Sacred Symbols guys are very upset because they're like, look, we had a bunch of fans who were coming to this thing, some specifically to see us, and now they can't see us anymore. And that's just kind of awful and wrong. And now we're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. So, just looking at it face value, by that, and for PAX not to give any particular reason why. I mean, maybe they have now behind the scenes, and they're not allowed to disclose the reasons for it or whatnot. I don't know, but as far as we know, PAX hasn't given any official word. What I believe had happened was Sacred Symbols was going to be there. There was going to be a panel, and fans were pressuring, I guess, ReedPop, which is the company that runs the PAX Prime. Hey, look, we don't want these people here, because Chris is a little bit of he can be a little controversial, to say the least, right? Him so much more than Colin, right? And I think a lot of fans kind of took offense to, him, and was like, oh, if he's going to be at this convention, I don't want to go, this and that. I feel like that's how it went down. I don't necessarily know why. It kind of sucks that PAX didn't, kind of outlay, look, we've received some comments and complaints and this and that, and that's why we're taking your panel down. So I don't know.
Well, there wasn't a big fan. There was no huge fan outcry against him, but I think it was more of an insider thing where maybe other personalities, industry insiders who were going to be their developers, maybe.
Well, someone said something.
Sort of said something to the sort of the PAX about them being.
Yeah, I mean,
I think this is more of Chris than it is Colin, because Colin, you can say whatever you want about Colin, but Colin has a loyal following and has he has a good reputation inside the industry with developers. He's built relationships over many of years of just being in the industry. I mean, him and Jason Schreier from Kotaku are like best, I don't want to say best friends, but good friends. He interviewed him personally when he was still at Kind of Funny. They had sort of like a 101 series that he had running on. So he has friends in the industry. So I think this is more of the show being canceled. It could be something about Chris, in my opinion. I don't know, because no one said anything. Pac hasn't said anything, and Colin has been very transparent. He's wrote several emails, and he's posted the emails he sent online, asking for an explanation. They will not refund the people the PAX passes for people who were going there just to see him. So I will say this: he's doing a nice thing by out of his own pocket refunding 20 people for the PAX passes. Yeah. And if you look at the thread on Twitter, there are a bunch of people who saying they will contribute to help refund other people, who don't want to go to PAX anymore because of this. So I think they have up to like 30 or 40, people who can get refunded back there for their passes. So which I think is a good thing that he's coming out of pocket doing.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, I hope PAX eventually releases a public statement about kind of what went down, just to kind of give some clarity around the situation, because it's kind of unfair to just say, hey, look, we don't want you here, and we're sorry, and we'll give you your money back. That's essentially what the letter said, and the back and forth between them. I don't know. I don't know.
We take that and we still transition into even news that's really tugging on my heart right now, because I don't want GameStop to go. Okay, I want GameStop to thrive. I don't want the digital future ever.
Why do you have a vested interest in GameStop like that?
I will invest money in GameStop if they let me run it.
They're a horrible company, Dan. I'm sorry.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
They're not.
Are you okay when you go to the counter and it takes you 10 minutes to buy a game because they have to sell you everything and a disc doctor on top of that?
I don't know when's the last time you've been to GameStop, but I've had nothing but great experiences recently. No one's asked me if I wanted to pre-order a game. Thank God.
They are not. They are not doing their job then, because that's where all their money.
You know why? They're not
doing where all their money comes from.
They're doing good customer service.
That's where all their money comes from.
So
look. And I get it.
Recently, they decided to lay off over 50 regional managers. So this is not
more than just the regional managers, but also like loss prevention people and some other human resource. They're kind of slimming down a little bit. They're
kind of downsizing from the management's perspective. I mean, they already sort of semi-downsized from closed a bunch of stores, so obviously a lot of people got laid off or shifted around.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this could be a good thing in the fact that, I mean, they lay off a lot of regional managers. They're trying to restructure. Maybe they're coming up with a different plan, right? I mean, they're coming up with retro game themed stores, right? So they're going to have a GameStop Pink Gorilla or a GameStop Games New York type of store, where it's just going to be retro stores. And there are actual planograms online, leaked planograms, where they're planning to have the actual retro games in plastic on shelves so you can see what you're buying. So hopefully they will have people there who have the expertise to sell the games too, right? Because
I mean, you would hope so. Because if you're going to do a boutique experience, you need to have trained employees who are there who aren't just regular sales associates. You know, you have to pay them a little extra, put them through a training program, and make sure they know their shit. All right. It's like when you go to a fancy coffee house, right? And, you know, you're paying $5 for a cup of coffee, but you're getting a very delicious cup of coffee, right? You want experienced, knowledgeable sales associates, you know, who will kind of be like, oh, hey, welcome and, have a seat. And, what are you looking to play today? This and that. Like, give you a reason to come there, and you got to give them the good customer service, Otherwise, they're just reorganizing their current stores into like, hey, we have retro stores too. Come in and like take a look, but they're just trying to nickel and dime you to get you to buy a copy of Little Samson. It's.
Well, I would rather buy Little Samson from a fellow collector, than buy it from GameStop at this point, because GameStop may have a repro they're selling for $1,000.
Well, as it is, yeah, exactly. The way they've handled a bunch of this stuff is very poor. The way they handle trade-ins like that is very poor. They haven't trained their sales associates. They often do take dupes and fakes and all that, and they just don't know. And they're like, we'll give you a couple bucks for this game, and that's it. And then they'll go ahead and sell you a repro for like 60, 70, 80 bucks.
You know something they won't sell? A sealed, complete inbox Kid Icarus game.
Oh my God. One of my favorite games on the NES, Dan. I love this game.
I beat it. I beat this game recently.
Isn't it such a good game?
Because it was on Nintendo. It was on the Nintendo Online.
That's right.
On Nintendo Online, and they put you at the final boss.
Oh, they give you all the damn power ups to beat the last level.
Yeah, so I beat the game. I saw the ending.
Yeah, so it is a great game though.
So I like to end with this. Recently, sealed, complete inbox Kid Icarus game was sold for $9,000.
Somebody had this sitting in their. I remember. I remember reading the story. Somebody had this sitting in their parents' attic. They bought the game. They forgot that they bought the game. They bought it for like $39.99, and they just had it sit up there. And they forgot to give it to their kid as a gift or something like that. I think. Game was in like near pristine condition. They got it graded. It's worth $9,000 right now. That's insane.
Now, I gotta tell you something. I couldn't buy this. I would never buy this. But I would be conflicted if I found this if I found this in my attic or my garage or my basement. I would be conflicted because I don't believe in sealed games. I believe games are meant to be played.
Agreed. But you're never going to play this game though. If you crack open this game like that, like there's no reason to break the seal like that. Because you could just go and pay $5 and get like a regular loose cart.
Well, if I found it now, I'm selling it for $9,000 because I already own it. I already own it.
That's what I'm saying.
I already own a loose cart. But this was like a few years ago. Like 10 years ago or something like that, I found this. I'm like, let's crack that puppy open. Let's play this. Come on.
Dan.
I know. Well, we already had original Mario sell for $100,000. Inbox Kid Icarus sell for $9,000. Sealed. I mean, sealed games are getting like ridiculously overpriced. I'm sorry. Personally, I think that's a little silly because I think games are meant to be played. But hey, if someone's willing to pay for it, then by all means.
Yeah, and like part of it is like a whole because they have this new company like Wata, which is doing a lot of the gradings, right? So it's like the comic book grading and all that, right? Somebody professionally grades it, they look it over, they see what the damage is to it, and they give it a rating out of 10. And an 8 is very high. It's a sealed game. It has almost no imperfections on it. Get an 8, put it in a damn case, and then now it's worth so much more because somebody's deemed that it's in this condition, right? A professional has looked at it and said, hey, it's worth this now. So if it didn't have a water grade on it, and it was just sealed, maybe it's a couple $100, now it's $9,000 because now it's got an official rating on it. So for better or worse, we have them now. But Dan, I think that about does it. That is episode 179 in the book. It's been a long ride. It's been a long episode. We had a lot of stuff to go over. We thank you guys for sticking with us and doing all the good stuff that you do. Before we go out, just a reminder, we are giving away one copy of Control on the console of your choice, either PlayStation 4 or Xbox One when the game releases. Please head over to our Twitter, @RatedG4Gamers, for contest rules and entry details. If you guys want to interact with us, and we know you do, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube @RatedG4Gamers. So, please listen, like, rate, review, and subscribe. And as always,
keep gaming.